Well, let me start with Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Some of the major issues that your party stood for on the podiums and you were talking about strongly and vehemently about was the issue of security and how your party will fight terrorism. How would you assess your president at this time?
I think with all sense of humility, the president has done very well in the last 100 days in the fight against terrorism. And of course, I'm happy that the Analysts has actually put this in the proper context. Now, when the president came in on May 29th, probably the Boko Haram insurgency was unarguably one of the most defining issues of this country. And as soon as he came in on 29th of May, 2 days later, he began his short diplomacy, first to Chad and then to Niger. And in between, he also went to meet the G7 nations, and then came back again and visited both Benin Republic and Cameroon. And then a few days later, hosted the Lake Chad Basin Commission, comprising Benin Republic, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Nigeria. And the whole idea was to rally regional support, for the fight against terrorism. From there, of course, he went to the U.S. also on the visit to the U.S. And there again, top on his agenda was the issue of fighting terrorism. And he came back again with definite assurances and support. And of course, back home, locally, one of the first tasks he undertook was to rejuvenate the army. We named new service chiefs, and we've seen the impact of these new service chiefs. Because don't forget that on the 29th of May, during his inaugural speech, he directed that the control and command center of the army be moved directly to the northeast, which is the theater of war itself. And since then, we've seen a difference. Rather than the battle being fought from the headquarters in Abuja, it was actually being directed, from the front.
So in essence, you're saying that we've seen a lot of activities based on the issue of terrorism and security issues from the president. Are you saying that we're on the right track?
Absolutely.
Based on your promises?
Yes.
All right. Let me allow Chief Olisametu to come in here. That was a major campaign issue that the APC used in ousting your party from prominence at the center. Do you think Nigerians are disappointed in the performance in 100 days based on this issue?
On the issue of security, we believe it is quite a very sensitive topic. It is an area that we expect that all responsible Nigerians will drop the issue of politics and support the president of the country in all the steps that he may decide to take. We believe that Mr. President is sincere and is serious on the issue of curtailing insurgency. And we believe that he's competent and is capable of handling matters affecting our security. And as a responsible political party, we will support all measures and steps that this government, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, will take in tackling the issue of insurgency. The accounts that have been given, one is tempted to correct some inaccuracies or to give examples of what happened in the past. But like we said, and we've always maintained, we will not play politics on the issue of security. This is an area that lives have been lost. A lot of Nigerians have lost loved ones. Properties have been destroyed. And we will not allow sentiments to guide us in our statements on this aspect. We will support Mr. President in any measure action or step that he decides to take on the issue of security.
We saw President Jonathan, he actually focused more. At some point, we saw the fight against taking to the insurgents there in Maiduguri and its environs, and we saw the amount of money being spent. Some people are saying in the region of 3 to 4 trillion naira, about 1 trillion naira is spent on defense, security, the military, and all of that. And one will be tempted to say, do you think that the government was a continuum in that sense?
Our thoughts are more with those who have lost loved ones, and the fact that lives are being lost almost like every month or every 2 weeks. Let me be quite modest. So we will not want to, we respect the People's Democratic Party has decided that they will not discuss the issue of security. If we have any opinion on this matter, we'll look for an avenue to inform or add suggestions and advice to the government at the center. We're a very responsible party, and we do not think that we discuss the security situation that we have in this country just to play politics with it. But I must state that the last government actually did a lot to tackle this, especially this year. And Nigerians will bear us witness that at the end of the tenure of the People's Democratic Party-led federal government, we're able to bring this down to the barest minimum. Mr. President, the president now is a general, the 4-star general, is tried and tested on security matters, and they're leading the country in such aspect. We will support him, and our thoughts and prayers will always remain with the Nigerian people as we confront this heinous problem that we have.
All right, just a moment. Let me turn to my people here in the studio. Very sensitive issue, just like Kivoli Sometu says. Let me start with Kadir Ahmed. Tell me, what are your thoughts on the progression and the fight against terrorism? What do you think? What do you make of the situation currently?
To be honest, I have a whole problem with this concept of 100 days to begin with. This idea of assessing how a government is going to perform based on its first 100 days. It's very foreign to us. This is something that the Americans brought into being. I think it was President Roosevelt who started it. It's kind of difficult because, you know, an American government goes into place. They have institutions that work, civil service that is active, police that is working, army that's working, a whole bunch of things. And so you go in and you can start governing almost effectively. And I think we do ourselves a disservice when you're coming from a developing country like ourselves and say that you want to start talking about what your government is going to achieve based on what they've done in the first 100 days. It's symbolic, I understand that. But if you go back in history, the last government, for example, if you go on the internet now, you have people putting down something like 24 achievements of the Jonathan administration, vis-a-vis what they did at the end of their 4 years in office. I mean, how did that work out? Was it a good indication of, you know, how they were going to perform? Certainly, Nigerians were not satisfied, and they gave a verdict at the polls. Having said that, I'm not saying that, I mean, it provides a good thing because, you know, we journalists, you know, we're now doing a special program on it, and it's good headlines. But in real terms, what can somebody do in 100 days, particularly if you consider that this is a government that is moving away from the norm? They're saying they're not going to do things the way normally other people do it. And so why would you expect them to fit into the box of this is the first 100 days and therefore we're going to do some quick wins? He's talking about laying a foundation. And that is about all you can do, really, to be honest, in 100 days. That is my feeling.
All right, great. I guess it will always be also be right to see how far the foundation is looking.
Absolutely.
Maybe the sound feeling is good or not.
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
on that thought, we take a short break. And when we return, we start from where Kadir Ahmed stopped. And, well, we'll go into some other issues. Don't forget, anti-corruption is one of the major issues the Buhari government also says they are going to tackle. where my other guests in the studio will be waiting on this. Don't forget, you can be part of the program with all of these platforms via the SMS and on Twitter. Quickly go on them and let's know what you think. Stay with us. We'll be right back.